Okay, I just wanted to give a little bit of an update about how I've been doing, what I've been doing. Um, Before I get into all that, I'm gonna do that in a separate video. Right now, currently, my heat is not really working that well, so you might hear other people in the background trying to figure out how to work that out. So that's between the mechanic and the landlord or whatever. But I've been sitting here with my notebook of some ideas that I have to put together a book. And this is a book that chronicles certain stories and storylines um, surrounding my first year being here in Pennsylvania, moving from Virginia. And if you've seen any of my other YouTube videos, you know that I moved here about a year ago after some really difficult circumstances um, that all ended up being what I want to call like a timeline jump or a quantum leap. And so I've spent the year trying to catch up emotionally and physically to what my new reality is. And so now that I'm in a space where I have some more clarity and understanding and getting glimpses of what the future could potentially also look like from this point on, I wanted to find a way to capture some notes, some tips, and ideas that I think would be helpful for others as well, and put it in a book. So I was asking myself, Neri, why do you really want to do this? And at first, I thought it was solely to help others, but really it's to solidify to me that I was a big part of creating this new life that I have embraced. And I wanted to be able to put those words down, put it in something like an album. Um, so I'm thinking of different ways of doing it. So while it might not be a book that's available publicly just yet, it might be a little while. I still want to see it as a body of work that I can come back to, revisit, and start to embrace seeing myself and my life from a different and new perspective. Um, and mainly that's because I'm healing the area of my life where survival and trauma had kind of taken over the lens. Yes, I was still creative. Yes, I was still finding my glimmers of hope, my joys in being in the moments that I was able to be and be present. Um, but after stepping away from that timeline, excuse me, stepping away from that timeline, that version of my life, and making a huge leap and doing something completely different, I realized there were so many areas where that survival lens had really overshadowed um, what life could have been if I knew that I was in a space where I needed more healing. And so now that I am on the other side of that version, I recognize there's other levels of healing that also need to take place. But it's not as, let's put it this way, I'm more aware and awake to what that was then. And so I just want to honor what that was, but really, most importantly, honor what this year has done for me and brought into my life. And so there were challenges, there were triumphs, there was confusion, and there was a little anxiety and depression that was mixed in there too. So I wanted to take this moment to say that that's where I am right now. And if you've come to this YouTube channel and you've seen some of my other work and you see that there may be a gap in, some updates, I do try to put some of my YouTube shorts out there so you can kind of get a glimpse of what I'm doing, how I'm staying creative. And right now I'm spending a lot more time on the TikTok app, so you may find me living my life out loud there. But anyway, back to the point of me recording this book that I'm writing, with some tips and some funny stories and some heartbreaking ones as well, um, are going to be some of the real tests, challenges, and triumphs of this past year and what I've learned so far after being here a year. And it's really mostly for me, like I said, to shift my perspective, shift um, my lens from surviving, into more of an abundance mindset, and to really fall back in love, or maybe even for the first time fall in love with my life. So that's the purpose of me posting this. And my hope is that when I'm finished with this body of work, first and foremost doing it for myself and deciding what versions are part of this that I want to release publicly, that it will in some way inspire and encourage others to begin seeing their lives from a different lens. So that's my update right now, and I will be giving snippets of how things are going right now. I have an outline of some interesting titles that kind of help, um, give a little glimpse into what the story, uh, telling part of this will be. And it will include things like, the recipes, my cooking failures, even glimpses into my marriage, from a very humorous, real, perspective of two people who spent the first part of their relationship at a distance, and who are now living together full time, and what that's been like. Especially now that we are not new to this, so to speak. We're new to this version of ourselves and what marriage looks like in this time period of our lives together, being in our mid 40s and early 50s. And it's quite interesting. It's very different from, previous relationships and even our previous marriages. So there's that. And parenting, what parenting has been like for me from a distance, with my kids still living in the other state. So stick a pin in that, because there's a lot, more to share about the parenting aspect of life changes as well, like the one I've just experienced. And then little things like, my routine and how I, um, developed that, and how I am still developing my routine even after a year, even down to how I acquired my part-time job, and how it's also been a blessing, a challenge, to work, live, and create around. Yet and still, it's providing some of the stability points that I've needed, or felt like I needed, with, teamwork and things like that. So all those little things are going to be sprinkled into this book. And again, another creative, project with a really strong, just a strong, hopefully a strong outcome. So that's my update for now, and I look forward to giving some updates on that. But that's where I am. So do stay tuned. And if you are on TikTok, follow me there, Creative Life by Neri, or just look that handle up, on any of social media channels. I am active on more social media channels than others. I have pressed pause on Facebook and Instagram for now, so I'm not very active on those platforms. But TikTok, you can find me on some YouTube shorts. Um, and then, of course, my email, creativelifebinary@gmail.com, if you're, just curious and want to ask me questions. And just like, comment, and share if any of this might resonate with you. And I will talk to you guys later.